created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Chris Aceto and I are back again for another installment live of Heavy Muscle Radio. Chris is in the bunkers down in Maine, trying to hide out from the hurricane. Chris, you out of electricity there?
At my house we are. The hurricane missed my Miami properties and missed your properties.
Yeah.
But they came up here and and targeted mine.
I was going to say, usually I'm the guy ducking the hurricanes. Now, for once, you are.
Well, the new news is, I guess, that hurricanes are going to be. They a lot of times they miss Florida and they hit like Wilmington, North Carolina.
Right.
So now, I guess, because of weather changes and pattern changes, and they are now missing their peak and not hitting Florida, but they're coming up to like coastal Canada and Maine. So I had a tree, a power line that that was connected to my house, so we still don't have power.
Oh, that sucks.
So all my pH, Dave, that I don't have.
It's all bad now. I'll just have all the bodybuilders show go to your house and pick it up so it doesn't go to waste. Now, obviously, for those of you who are watching this live now, you know by now that we're not on YouTube right now. We're actually streaming this live to our Facebook page, which we actually have a very good following on Facebook, so I don't have a problem with that. But for those of you who don't know, I mean, most people watch my message I put up on our RX Muscle Instagram. We did a show on Tuesday, the typical after-hour show with Valentino, Romano, and that whole crew. And I guess we got into talking about the jab, that thing that people take to combat that virus that's been floating around.
Acetate or an anthate?
And I was giving my opinion on it, and I think a lot of people were giving their opinion on it, but I was giving the scientific opinion on it. And YouTube has enacted a new policy whereby anything that contradicts the World Health Organization, WHO, policy on what works and doesn't work in the medical community, they deem to be misrepresentation and disinformation, and they will take action against you, whether they ban you or they give you a strike. We get a strike. So when you get your first strike, we've never got a strike before. Amazingly enough, we've never got a strike. We've got demonetized for videos with cursing and some of them, but we've never had a strike. A strike, basically, I guess, for this time, just doesn't enable us to upload any new content for a week, which is a lot because we upload a ton of content every week.
And on carb loading on wet carbs, Dave.
I don't think there's any established World Health Organization dogma on carbing up, so I think you can kind of pretty much say what you want. But you can't talk about their, that down there thing. You can't talk about that. Not that it doesn't matter here. Facebook doesn't care, but you can't talk about that or contradict it, I should say. If you don't think it does good things, then they're gonna say you're passing bad information. They don't want to lose all the money that people pay to get vaccinated and everything like that. So a lot of people thought it was because we were talking about steroids. There's no established dogma on steroids. You can talk about steroids all you want. You just can't talk about anything that makes the drug companies money. That's really what it's about. There's a doctor too who did a really cool video, and he does a lot of alternative health, vitamin C for IV vitamin C for anti-cancer, and ozone therapy, you know, for oxygenating the body, beating cancer, stuff like that. And YouTube, they won't give you strikes for that, but what they'll do is they just won't recommend your video anymore, even though people want to see it. If it goes against, you know, like standard medical practice or whatever that they have in the medical textbooks, they won't recommend your video. So like if you do, the guy did it, for instance, he put the word ketogenic diet into the search engine, and this video came up with these morons talking about this, these doctors talking about how ketogenic diets are not good because they put stress on the body, and the body is becomes acidified. Like they didn't understand the difference between like a ketogenic diet that you purposely go on versus like a ketogenic state that you might be in because you're an undiagnosed type 1 diabetic who has no insulin in their body and their blood sugar is, you know, 1,000. So they completely, so there's no more like ketogenic diets are good for health, that they lower cholesterol, that they, you know, lower triglycerides, that they improve blood sugar control. You can't say that. If you say that, then they just won't recommend your video. So just only the people will see it with the people who subscribe to your channel, maybe. But you know how normally you kind of browsing YouTube and the things that you like pop up. Hey, Chris, go check out the new Donald Trump mansion that he bought down in Miami. And you're going to be like, oh, shit, I'm real estate. I'm going to go there and look at it. They won't recommend it anymore. And so it's just another avenue for reducing the freedom of speech, you know, in this country, unfortunately. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. It's just, it's kind of depressing a little bit because the establishment only wants you to know one viewpoint, and they don't want to know anyone else's viewpoint.
We have free speech. We can pick on like Bob Ciccarello or Steve Blackman all day long, but you can't say that they thought the jab didn't work.
Yeah,
right. And it's all over.
They don't want you challenging medical establishment, even though it's most likely in most cases wrong. I mean, let's face it, you know, the American Heart Association was recommending, and in some instances they still do, a high carb diet, in no zero fat diet to lose, you know, weight and improve cardiovascular fitness. And they found that, you know, when they did that back in the 1980s, all the heart disease got worse in this country, you know, and now they finally admitted just recently that saturated fat intake really has nothing to do with cholesterol levels. It's amazing that it's shocking actually that they actually admitted that, but there's a lot of just not good information out there, and they don't want anyone knowing what the right way to do things are that might not which might not include taking prescription medications. That's really what it amounts to. So having said that, we'll be here for a week. We'll have tomorrow, John Romano and I will do Rips and Rants on Facebook. We'll stream that live. And then on Tuesday, we'll be back with After Hours with Valentino and Romano. We'll be streaming that over there. And then I don't know, later in the week, I don't know if we're going to wait until Friday and then just post on YouTube again. But I think we're going to keep posting to Facebook as well, because I like Facebook. And, you know, I know a few people who use Facebook a lot. Monica Brandt is a big Facebook live streamer. And Callie Muscle puts a lot of stuff on Facebook, and he said he has a good experience with them. So we'll see how it goes. So let's talk about this IFBB Europa show that took place in Alicante, Spain. It was a rematch, essentially, between Regan Grimes and Nathan De Asher. 1-point decision. Regan takes the title this time. Did you look at have you seen the pictures and videos?
Yeah, I mean, I saw some pictures. You know, I saw the Jimmy.
I lost you, Chris.
Yeah, no, I saw the pictures. It was, you know, close show, and I think you could make the argument either way. You know,
1-point decision tells me that it was very close, and I would be lying if I didn't say that I felt that probably the decision went towards Regan just to get him to qualify for the Olympia, because it looked pretty much like a rematch from, you know, last week. I mean, I didn't see too much difference in either one of them. Did you? I mean, we weren't there, but
I mean, I think they were both a little bit harder actually than last week, and you know, I think their strengths were even stronger, and their kind of weaknesses were still weak. But
I didn't see that much of a difference. That's I think what you're saying.
Yeah, I didn't see much. I would say like Reagan was a little sharper this week, but not much. And I think Nathan was even sharper than last week. But here's how bodybuilding goes. So Reagan wins, and then you start to talk about, well, he's wider and he's bigger through the back. And if Reagan had lost, you'd be talking about, well, he still could be in better condition. So sometimes you talk about the results. You talk about a person's physique based on the result, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Well, you try to justify the results, by looking, right?
Well, not just try to see it through the lens of who was, who the 8 or 10 people were sitting down, 10 feet away.
Right. I mean, if you look at this back shot, I mean, I really think Reagan has really brought up his legs a lot.
Yeah, he has.
His hamstrings and glutes and calves, I mean, are very impressive. I mean, Nathan's got those Ronnie Coleman glutes, but I mean, Regan's hamstrings are very impressive. Yeah. And he's got a lot of back width. Nathan's got high lats, but they're pretty, and Nathan's got really good arms. So, I mean, they were so close, last week that, that they're just as close this week, I think. And to me, I'm glad that Regan won, just because I want to see both of these guys in the Olympia,
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think you could make a better argument this week, I think, for Reagan winning than I couldn't make the argument last week. Like whenever we went through the, pose.
These pictures are filtered too. So
can we get any pictures that aren't? Can we just get pictures?
I don't know why this photographer filters everything. He does filter though.
I told you the photographers like to get the pat on the back from the pros and say you got the best pictures. I saw other pictures nearly yours.
Yeah. I mean, Regan's abs really weren't that sharp here at this show, but I don't know if that's an issue he's got going on, but he's got a lot, like you said, he's got a lot of width, but look at Nathan's got the chest, shoulders, arms.
They're total physiques. Nathan's got more muscle that's round and pops that width and height. So there's a big contrast there.
Right.
And the back, I think Reagan's got a better back lat spread. I think better. I think Reagan's got more back density on the back double. I think his hamstrings are better. After that, I think you could argue. You could argue it any way you want. Right.
I mean, now in the video, you can kind of see a little better because you can't. I don't think this video is filtered at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Regan's taller. It looks like Nathan to me is a little harder, but Regan's got some good shots. I could, I'm fine with the outcome on this. Like I said, I think both of these guys are pretty evenly matched. Like you said, I mean, Regan does definitely dominate the back poses without a doubt. Yeah. Even though Nathan's got the really good glutes and good back width,
Well, I mean, he doesn't have Reagan's width.
No. But he's got a smaller waist, so I mean, maybe it's an illusion.
Yes. Yeah, he does have he has a good V taper on the back lat, even though he's less wide.
Here's a question I would hate to answer. That's why I always ask you this question. How did these guys both do at the Olympia here?
Like I said last week, they're in the second call out somewhere.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, they're both very good, but just think for a second out loud who the top 5 were from last year, and throw in other people who have improved a lot, and then to be in that first call out of 5, you have to be top 5 in the world, and I don't see either of them top 5 in the world.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think they're definitely top 10.
Yes, I mean think of. I mean, I just saw a video of Brandon Curry, who everyone's counting out, and I think Brandon Curry's going to,
surprise people,
be an X factor. Because frankly, last year Brandon was, he was like this weird odd man out. He had a lot of strengths, but I think he wasn't like as conditioned as he needed to be able to highlight those strengths.
Right.
But, I don't think he's going to make that mistake this year.
No, I think he tried to come in too big, to be honest with you. That's what I think happened. Yeah. I think they tried to load him up too many grams of carbs because they thought Ramy was going to be one of the guys to beat, and I think they just overcarbed him.
Listen, anything can happen at that show. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, it literally is now. And Chris, I have to tell you, I booked my hotel room, so now I am officially going.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, so that's a commitment on my part right there.
Did you book it in Vegas or did you book it?
Oh, you mean it's in Florida? I forgot. No, I'm just kidding. I know I booked it. I'm at the Rosen Plaza. I couldn't get into the Rosen Center. I waited too long, but I'm in the Rosen Plaza.
Yeah, the Rosens, speaking of real estate, they own the whole town. Though
Who are the Rosens?
It's a family that's been around for eons in Orlando, and they saw the potential to build up around Disney World, and they started building hotels and hotels and hotels. And I mean, there's a million Rosen hotels there. Though they did, I don't know to what degree, but like everyone, they almost lost it all during COVID.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Amen.
Chris Aceto with the real estate update right there.
Site for Fort Lauderdale for Orlando.
Right. Say it again.
I said that's the real estate insight for Orlando, and you said right, and I didn't know if you're trying to sound like you're.
No, you know what? Because you know what, Orlando probably got hammered. Like, think about where most of the money in Orlando comes from. It comes from Disney and Universal Studios and all the other theme parks they got over there, and all the hotels and all the restaurants. I mean, that place, we're lucky that place didn't just close up and disappear, because that was 2 years almost, right?
Yeah. Crazy. You say right as much as Howard Stern. I just realized.
Yeah, that's where I get it from.
You need a little Howard Stern, Ace Frehley from Kiss wig.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that for Halloween.
Yeah, for Halloween.
I was going to be a pirate. Maybe I'll be Howard Stern instead.
Yeah. No, your son wants the Hulk.
My son said that Marvel is old school. He's over Marvel. He doesn't want to do any more Marvel stuff. How come it's getting darker in your car? There you go.
My car lights are going out.
Are you in the Mercedes?
No, I'm in the Infinity, which I
was going to say the Mercedes lights would probably burn the battery out if you kept those on.
I crashed this car today. I put a dent in it.
Wow! Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where did you crash it?
I can't see. I have these Sherwin-Williams glasses, Dave, and I was pulling into a parking spot,
right?
And there was like a concrete little like slab I couldn't see, and I heard. I'm like, what is that?
Oh,
and I get up, put a dent in it. So of course, the insurance company's closed today, so I'll call them tomorrow. I probably have $1,000 deductible.
I got to give you credit. You're very calm in the face of like terrible things that happen, because I didn't even know you had a hurricane and you didn't have electricity. You were just like, but I said, what are you doing in your car? You're like, oh, we had a hurricane. We have no electricity. And now you're like, oh, I crashed the car. And you're very laid back about it. I got to tell you, Chris, I'm pretty impressed, to be honest with you.
Well, I had next to an apartment building that I own in Portland, I had a tree come down it's city land. It's like the sidewalk, brick sidewalk. And the tree hangs over my building, but the wind blew it and it fell on my neighbor's building.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm stress-free because of, I don't have to deal with that.
I don't know if this is the real Jay Cutler, but we do have Jay Cutler in the chat here. It says, Chris, live from the yacht. Is that the real?
That's Jay.
Is that the real Jay?
Probably Jay.
Well, if it is, hey, Jay. Oh, Mel Chansey. Dave at the Olympia. About time. Yep, Mel, I'm finally coming out of the, I had a lot of surgeries, Mel. You know that. I had to I had my foot fixed. I had to have my heart done. I had pneumonia. I'm like, I'm finally back in the swing of things, So, and there's no.
Dave, you'll know it's Jay if he'll see how he'll answer. Does Chris love yachts?
Yeah. Hey, I'll ask Mel. Mel, is that the real Jay Cutler? Who knows if that's even real Mel Chansey? It's got to be Mel Chansey though, because you know what, Mel? I know Mel's a Facebook guy, so now because we're streaming on Facebook, we have a different audience of people who are watching. So, all right, I wanted to pull Tim Budeshine up because he was third place here. This is a big placing for him, and he's from Germany. Let's pull him up. What'd you think of him?
Great condition. Best he's looked. Better than, I think, like a couple weeks ago, he looked like blocky through the midsection. Here he didn't, which he's never been blocky through the midsection. He's been a pretty good up and comer, but I think this was his best. And I think somehow last week, where he didn't place the side, something was amiss with his midsection that threw his balance off. But here,
he gets really hard. But I look at his Facebook, his Instagram, and I think I think he sucks down a little too much. His conditioning is like really good. I think he does almost like what Roman Fritz used to do, is just almost get too dry and too flat. I think they're afraid to like just maybe eat, because when you're in great shape, and this is something I think it's important. When you're not in great shape and you're not quite there, if you eat too much, it's completely smooths you out. When you're shredded to like the bone, dry, you can pretty much get away with eating a lot more food than the average person, and it's not going to really throw you off very much. Over dehydrating can sometimes be like a kiss of death, because it makes this. That used to happen to me. It takes away the roundness to your muscles, and it makes you look too like angular looking, if that makes sense. And I think that Tim is one of those guys that falls victim to that. I think he can be a lot more volumized, his body.
Yeah, well, it's a learning process, and there's a happy, you know what I mean? There is a happy medium to a lot of physiques.
His glutes are ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, and his back is really impressive too. But these pictures are also all filtered, so I bet if he was like 3 or 4 pounds fuller, he would be even crazier looking.
Yeah.
And in the scorecards, he was right there. Regan had 4 points, Nathan had 5 points total, and he had 9. So he wasn't that far off. He didn't get all third place. It looks like someone gave him a second place vote, if I'm figuring out the mathematics of this whole thing properly. Theo Le Guerre from France, who's placed at a lot of shows last year, he finishes in 4th, and our good friend Roman Fritz in that 5th position. Overall, if you had to just rate this show, what would you say?
I think it was a great show because I think the top 5 were all in great condition, and I think the top 5 were either collectively they were pretty much at their best,
Yeah.
I
thought Roman looked really good too. I was surprised that Roman didn't place higher than that. He looked actually better here than he did.
Budeshine just, I think, last week. So.
Yeah, well, Roman was 3rd last week. Yeah. He looked maybe better this week, I thought, than last week too.
Yeah.
But you get a different judging panel, so you get sometimes a different outcome. But I think for both of those guys, both of those German guys have to be happy with their with their placings.
Roman's going to the Olympia, so.
Yeah, Roman won a pro show. He was the smartest one. He hit a show where no one was in that show. And that's what look, Chris, we've been saying this all year long, that more of these guys should be competing and they shouldn't be waiting till the very end. And some people took that advice, some people didn't. And that's why you're going to see some people at the Olympia who really, belong there. You're going to see some guys who snuck in, and some guys who do belong there, and they're not going to be there either, because they didn't qualify, and it wasn't because they weren't good. They hit some tough lineups, and that's just the way it goes. I thought it was a good show. I'm happy that they hit the 2 weeks in a row. Those 2 European shows. I'd like to see Chris, a European tour again, wouldn't you? Like where you hit, maybe there's like 5 shows in Europe.
Yeah,
week to week. Maybe even have like one midweek.
Yeah, it'd be great. It's great. It's great for the fans. It's great for the sport, and it's great for the competitors because you get a chance to Budashine is a perfect example. I didn't think he looked good last week, but a lot different this week. So he didn't do the same thing this week as he did last week, clearly. So he probably learned something about, his physique, if that makes sense.
Explain to maybe the people who don't know, because maybe they weren't around then, what the European tour was like, back in the day.
It was just, after the Olympia, they would have maybe 7 shows, in a matter of like 2 weeks usually, or 3 weeks max, and people would fly from the Olympia and straight to doing a bunch of these shows back to back to back.
Yeah. It was exciting. I mean, Jay, did you go with Jay on that tour?
Yeah, I went with Jay to Russia. I went with Jay to England. I went with Jay to Italy, to Amsterdam.
So you must have seen the couches in the most elaborate hotels throughout the world.
And
you love to sleep on the couch, right?
I went with Roden to like England, everywhere.
That's right. Yeah, you went with Regan. With Roden all over the place.
And good times. People who went on the tour. People would go on the tour, thought it was torture because you'd just be so ridiculously tired.
Yeah.
But when they look back, people look back with fondness. There's a Dennis Wolf put out a video. I don't know if you saw it.
No.
It's Gianenrico Pica had rented a jet for us to fly.
Well, I remember that. Yeah, I remember. I sent you that on that show. Yeah.
Foley's on the jet. I'm on the jet. Johnny Styles on the jet. Bonac, Dexter, Wolf, Roden. Neil Hill. I think Flex Lewis is on the jet. Maybe Jose. I can't. It just goes on.
There was a show on Saturday, and then John Enrico, who's a great guy, who we're all friends with. He flew everyone, the competitors, all the press, all the way to Italy in San Marino for the following day.
Della Rose was on the jet, and
that thing cost him a fortune. He told me.
Yeah. And we all got on the jet. And we were like so crazy tired. I think the jet was leaving at like 4 a.m. I can remember this. You want to laugh, Dave?
Yeah.
I remember everyone was so glum and run down and exhausted. Right. Victor was there.
Uh-huh.
People were irritable. People were miserable. All except Dennis Wolf, because Dennis Wolf had just won the night before.
Oh, right.
So, yeah. The winner, he was still so pumped up from having won.
Yeah, sure.
When we got on the jet, and the irony is, he was the only one who had the energy with the camcorder, whatever he had to video.
Film, yeah, he had and that was the good footage too, yeah. Yeah, I sent the video guy, he doesn't even videotape it, right?
Because I remember someone said to me, they go like,
did Johnny video? I don't even remember.
I don't know. I just remember someone saying, why is Dennis Wolf in such a good mood? I said, because he won the show. I
should have paid Dennis Wolf for that weekend.
Yeah.
Here's footage. No, but it was funny. You guys know, John Enrico was first class all the way around, for sure. I went to Italy once with him for one of those shows he held there, and he treated us great. We went on. I remember I was hanging out with Gaspari, and we went up the side of this mountain all the way to this restaurant at the top because we were in San Marino. It was beautiful.
San Marino, yes, that's where we were.
And Richie speaks Italian. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was like, Rich, you speak Italian? He goes, oh yeah, absolutely. That's great. He was ordering an Italian for us. We had a really good time, actually, him and I. I remember that very fondly. It was a very fun trip. I wish I can go back there because I never really, I'm Italian and that was the only, actually twice I went to Italy. One time other than that, I had a really good time as well, but I would love to go back. I really love Italy. I feel like I'm home when I go there. They treat you so arms open. Everyone gives you a hug and a kiss, and they want to feed you. That reminds me of my childhood growing up.
Yeah, we went. I told you we went with me. And my wife went with Gustavo and his wife, and
That's right. That's right.
We had an incredible time.
We got to get this European tour back. They got 2 shows, and we got to get more shows there. I think that's something that the competitors will never forget. I mean, you guys, you're still talking about it. I mean, imagine, I know Milos probably went on more of those European tours than anyone,
Yeah, Milos went on them all. LeBron would go on them all.
Teddy Jones used to go pay his own way and go on them. And but yeah, it was just fun. It was fun times. That's all. The only person who didn't go on the European tour was Sean Ray, right? He would sit home.
Yeah, he would stay home because Nasser said he was afraid of losing.
Yes. And Nasser was always miserable. I heard on all those tours.
Will the World Health Organization let us bash Sean Ray?
I don't know. But I do know that, Sean was, Nasser was always miserable on those tours because he hated dieting and all those shows. And Lee Priest told me that him and Paul Dillette, they were at the end of one of the tours and they were like just sick of dieting. So they were just eating pizza or whatever they wanted. Of course, Dillette looked just the same. Lee turned into like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Oh, yeah.
And they would send like crappy food over to Nasser's table. They'd order like ice cream and shit like that. And Nasser would go fucking crazy. He hated it. He was like, that's why you guys look like shit. I beat you all. And, he would be screaming at them. And it was pretty funny. I remember
in Italy, in the restaurant after the show there, all the competitors eating whatever they wanted. And I remember Jay getting like steak and a potato.
Right.
But the mind was going like, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Lee's eating like Kentucky Fried Chicken and like ice cream, and Paul Dillette, is eating like inhaling like coffee cakes and all kinds of donuts and shit. And now she's like, oh, I must beat. I will beat you guys. You are foolish, and you send me these stupid jokes, these American jokes. You play on me, but you're imbeciles, and that is why I will beat you at these shows. And he was screaming at them. So. But yeah, I think more of these tours are definitely needed. I think
they can. Phenomenal. I mean, the last 2 shows, and they have the Romanian show. So I mean, technically, they could, tighten them up on the schedule, and there's 3.
I think they can do it. I think it should be done. I think it's a great idea. But anyway, so next week there's a show in Dubai. The Bader's holding the show. I don't know if you're aware of it, and Sid is going. Sid is going to be doing the live stream there. I think he's going to do it with Chris Cormier or Sean Ray or someone like that. I was going to go at the last minute, but I realized my passport was expired. So I'm going to do it next. I'm going to do next year. I'm going to probably go there for that show. But Bader is going to make. Bader is, I think Bader watches all the shows that we do, and we've been talking about how the Middle East is really, it's exploding. Let's face it, and the money is there. The sheikhs in these Middle Eastern countries put up ridiculous amounts of money. It doesn't matter to them. They got the cash. They value bodybuilding as a sport. They don't do that here in this country, of course. So no one in the government's putting up any money for bodybuilding. And we've been saying it for weeks. Why aren't they holding big open shows in the Middle East, in Qatar, in Dubai, in Kuwait? So Bader has, been battling with, these guys trying to get this open show. And I think next year it's going to happen. It's going to be a big show. I know he wants you and me and Sid there.
What's that mean he's been battling?
Because what goes on, from what I understand, at least, there's politics over there. And I think that Rafael Santoja has some kind of a relationship with the sheikh there already. And so he kind of puts the kibosh on the open shows in Dubai, but I think Bader has worked enough angles over there and has been there and proved that he does a really, really good job, and he's building all those oxygen gyms in Dubai. And the guy, you love him or hate him, the guy puts his soul into bodybuilding,
Because all the good pros, every single one, are competing, trying to make it to the Olympia. They're not trying to make it to the JV league that Raphael runs.
Right.
So there you go with the right again. But
no, you're right but think about it. If Bader puts up 250,000 first prize
where's marriage or relationship if you have former Olympia Ramy, former Olympia Samir Banu, you can go all the way back to great bodybuilders from Egypt. What's his name? Who was second to Haney at the Olympia?
Mohamed
Makaway. You've got great 12 bodybuilders. You got Samuel Haddad. You got, the list is endless. They're competing in the organization that we all follow, not Raphael's organization. So what kibosh do you have to put on? It's like stepping on an ant. Seriously.
You're right. You don't like when I say you're right. You're right, though. But my point is, though, these guys can get prize money like we've been talking about. They could put up $500,000 for first place. They could put $1 million up. And the problem, look, you've said it yourself. And you know what? I didn't think you were right, but you are right. And you were proven right when Arnold decided to, put up $300,000 for prize money for the Arnold Classic. All of a sudden, everyone jumped into it. What would happen if Bader put up $1 million for first place at a show? Every pro in there would be in that show.
Did you see that Arnold has $500,000 for the British Arnold Classic?
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't see that. No, when did they announce that?
Because you've been in that basement that doesn't exist.
You're right. I'm in the basement.
The World Health Organization does not want you living in a basement in places where they're not allowed.
Especially when they don't have basements, yeah. Especially when there is no basement. Yeah.
You can Google it. The irony is you use Google who you're banned from, right?
Yeah, Google on YouTube, yeah.
You can Google them. You can't even Google it, Dave, if they're banned from. But listen, the whole reason the Arnold's show was on the edge of being a disaster until Arnold said, "Okay, serious money." Then everyone said, "We're all in."
I see $80,000. I just pulled it up. You sure you got the money right?
Yeah. You must be looking at an old.
I'm looking at the Arnold Sports Fest thing here. Or maybe this is for Strongman. Strongman. No, I'm looking at Strongman. Never mind. Look, it's great. I love to see these guys raising the prize money. Oh yeah, 300,000. You're right.
No,
prize purse.
I thought you're looking at this year's Arnold, Ohio.
Oh.
Dave can't find it.
All right, well, I'll find it eventually. My point is that if Bader wants to put up high prize money, that's good for the athletes. And you know what? If these sheikhs of these countries want to put up big money to get the Olympia there, Jake should bring the Olympia there, Let him put $2 million up for first place. Now, bodybuilding's on the map. You know what I mean? Now Mr. Olympia is a very wealthy man if he wins that show, whoever that might be. That changes everything. I mean, you win $2 million, Chris.
Yeah.
You don't have to work the rest of the year, but these guys will because they're going to be like superstars, That changed. Think about how it changed the sports world. What were baseball players making back when, Babe Ruth played? I mean, not that much. It was still a lot, considering the times. But most guys didn't make a lot. Maybe Babe Ruth made a lot, but most of those guys didn't make a lot. And you know what? Now every professional athlete, in baseball and football, basketball makes a ton of money. They're all rich. That's where bodybuilding needs to go. And, we'll look back, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and we'll be like, holy mackerel, we were like living like losers, guys had to work at Home Depot, to pay the bills because the prize money wasn't enough.
Maybe you can fly over, Dave, and you can broker a deal with the Saudi king.
Yeah. I think Bader is a very good politician. He's a good negotiator. I think he's been holding the show now. He's bringing over a lot of people. Like I said, he's bringing over Sid. I know he wanted you and me over there, but obviously it was last minute. Next year, if he gets you and I over there with Sid in the booth to do the live stream, he has an open event. He gives away a lot of prize money. It's going to be a huge show, and everyone's going to use that show now as the model, the business model to make it bigger and better. And you're going to get guys in Qatar holding shows, and you're going to get guys in Saudi Arabia. I mean, Saudi Arabia is they wanted to buy the WWE, those guys, right? I mean, they have a lot of money over there. Look, they got all those golfers over there, top golfers in the world. They stole them all from the PGA Tour because they're throwing money around.
They didn't steal them. They bought it.
Well, they bought it. But originally weren't they originally
signing people? Buy it, the pennies on a dollar. Buy it is when you pay a premium. I told you they were gonna pay, what's his face, $2 billion. He turned it down.
Crazy. But you know what? That's good for the sport. Whose
previous ex-wives probably have access to like 3/4 of that $2 billion. So maybe that's why he turned it down.
I don't know. Chris, I heard Tiger Woods is still like one of the richest guys in the world, even with all his divorce settlements and everything like that. So this guy's a money-making machine. You don't understand. People who play golf spend retarded amounts of money. I know a lot of people who play golf. These guys have so much money. They will buy the most expensive clubs. They'll pay for the most expensive country club memberships. They throw money around. So these companies that sell golf merchandise will pay Tiger Woods insane money because people want to buy his stuff. And it's not a normal sport because, if you play if you're a bodybuilder, say people who bodybuild don't have a lot of money, you know what I mean? But people who play golf all have a lot of money because to get tee time on the golf courses, all the country clubs, people have expendable tons and tons of money that they love, and they do business deals out there. You got guys like, top politicians out on that golf course. So everyone wants Tiger Woods this, Tiger Woods that. Of course, the guy's making a ridiculous amount of money. He doesn't have to play golf anymore. His name alone is synonymous. It's like Michael Jordan in basketball, except basketballs don't cost anything near what golf clubs cost, right?
Yeah.
So I think that the Middle East is the key to growing the sport of bodybuilding. I think that's the only way it's going to expand. And I'm glad that Bader is still plugging away. I know he's, like I said, he's building a bunch of different oxygen gyms around there. And I hope that this show blossoms into something huge. And I hope we do see the Olympia move to the Middle East at some point and put up ridiculous amount of prize money. Because you know what? I love the sport of bodybuilding. I know you do too. And I want to see these guys make a lot of money. They're putting their bodies on the line, their health on the line. They push every day. It's a 365-day-a-year job. Yes, we love doing it, but why not get rewarded for being the best in the world? And that's just the way I feel about it,
Yeah, well, I don't think that, that day is far off. I mean, even if you section off the idea of having it in different countries, the prize money has continually gone up in the last 5 years, 6-7 years. So
yeah, but how would you like to see it go from 400,000 to 2 million?
Well, that's just a matter of, like you said, just someone has to put up the money.
It's not viable in this country because
don't forget, Dave, the Thriller in Manila was not a viable purse. That was a money-losing event. The whole event to bring attention to Zaire, the country of Zaire.
But Zaire paid for it. Yeah, that's why Don King brought it there. Right.
That's the reason that they had it there. That's the reason period. The fight was there. It didn't make a dime. It lost a fortune. But the people who brought it there, Don King and the president or dictator in that case of Zaire, idea was, we'll bring Zaire, be unlimited advertising to the world.
Right.
So sometimes sporting events are not necessarily about the of course Don King got paid, but people behind a sporting event initially, sometimes it's not about the immediate return as much as it is the long-term return.
Well, you think Qatar made money on the World Cup? You know how much money they spent on all those stadiums there.
No, they didn't make. I can't imagine.
It's national pride. Everyone knows Qatar now. I mean, it's right from
that
World Cup.
Reasons too that people who went to the event and people who saw it on TV were treated to not first class but triple first class event, including the athletes. So, there's a longevity to that publicity.
100%. And I think that they can do the same thing with bodybuilding. We're lucky that the Middle East values bodybuilding the way it does. And we got to go where the money is. That's just the way it is. I mean, if we want to get the sport bigger, it's not going to happen in the United States because no one cares. The advertisers are afraid to sponsor anything because of the stigma of steroids. The government wants to arrest everyone, So why try to play in a playground that no one wants us in? Let's go over there where where, like Kamal said they used to give him the money, when he would win the world championships for his house, his steroids they paid for, his medical insurance, because they valued him as an athlete there. They knew what he had to do. And so that's the place, that's the playground we want to play in, a place where they want us there. They value it. They think, holy mackerel, these bodybuilders are like WWE superstars, and we got to give them the VIP treatment, and we got to pay them to make sure that they keep coming back here.
Is it true that Sid is getting $150,000 to go there this weekend?
I think it's more than that, actually. Sid is getting paid, though, so I will tell you that's for sure. Look, Bader's not cheap, and you know what? And I got to tell you, Bader does a really good job over there. Like I said, we break his balls, and we used to break his balls a lot. But he likes that. He likes to come on the show and argue with us. But he has bodybuilding in his heart. He loves it. He promotes the sport. He puts more money into the sport probably than any other promoter I know out there. He financed a lot of those bodybuilders to come over to his gym and train in Kuwait there. He gave them apartments to live in. He gave them food to eat. He gave them the anabolics they needed. How much more you have to? That's like an Ed Connors of the modern era. Even more so.
David, you would have never come back.
Oh, I'd still be there, because there's a lot of business opportunities there too. It's just that like a lot of people get homesick and they want to leave or they get bored. I don't get bored doing what I like doing. That's the difference.
Between the gym and the food, you would have never gotten bored.
Forget about it. I would have been. Yeah, I would have. I remember when I went to Dubai in '96, and the way they treated us, I didn't want to leave there. I said, "Holy mackerel, this is like phenomenal." And that was in '96 before they even had any buildings built there. If I was a bodybuilder in today's world, I would have a tough time probably staying here. I probably would be over there living in Kuwait or in Dubai.
You'd be you'd be sending me pictures, and you'd be like, "Okay, what do you weigh? 415 here?" You'd say,
"Yeah." Because you know what? Because you can do your business over there. You can do coaching, through the online. You can do your social media over there. There's nothing that you can't do remotely over there that you can do here. Matter of fact, a lot of these guys, I don't even know some of them are in Dubai, and then I find out they're in Dubai because online you don't know where anyone is. You could be anywhere in the world that has an internet connection, really, when you think about it.
Right.
So I like I said, I think that we're going to see a really good Olympia. Like I said, I'm super psyched that I'm going. What hotel are you staying in, by the way?
Wherever the competitors are staying.
Oh, you don't even know. He doesn't even know. He's on someone's couch again.
The Rosen.
Yeah, there's a Rosen Center and there's a Rosen Plaza. They're right next to each other. But
there's multiple. Be careful. There's lots of Rosen.
Whose couch are you sleeping on?
I am. I'll probably have the room next to Andrew Jack, and me and my son will be in there. And
Gotcha.
you know, and I will say, Dave, I wanted to congratulate someone I coach, Chris Zilla from Germany.
I saw that picture you posted of him. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, he won his first pro show. The first pro show he did, he won, and he qualified for the Classic Olympia. And I, in my commentary, I said that he asked me 3 questions in my life, literally. He asked me, "Can I win a pro card?" And I said yes. And he said, "Can I win a pro show?" And I said yes, but it's a lot harder than winning a pro card. And then he said, "Why don't you fat load?" And I said, "I don't understand the question."
He looked good.
Those pictures do him zero justice.
Yeah.
He's very tall too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, well, how much does he weigh?
110 kilograms. So
Oh, he's pretty big. He must be really tall then.
Yeah, he's very tall.
Because you said he's classic, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's good. Where's he from?
Germany.
The Germans have been cranking out a lot of good guys recently.
Yeah, they have real gear, so that's the reason. They
have real gear. You're right.
The World Health Organization allows them to have it.
People thought that we got a strike because I was talking about anabolic steroids, and I said they don't have any policy on that. You're not contradicting anything. You can only contradict something that actually they have a policy on. When I was in medical school, I swear to you, there was not one mention of an anabolic steroid. Nothing. Testosterone, maybe they mentioned once, just something when we did blood work, but they didn't mention nothing about anabolic. And there's a lot of anabolic steroids out there. You would think that you would want doctors to be able to, at least identify what's going on.
They must have pulled the plug completely on your boy RFK.
As far as what?
The J. Here to say it.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons they signed. He has no platform. But it was funny. I was watching. He was on with his. His wife is right, Cheryl Hines.
Yeah.
Cheryl is the one who's on Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David.
Yeah.
She plays his wife on that show.
Yeah.
So that he met her through Larry David because he's friends with Larry David. And I was watching an interview with them, and him and I are like kindred spirits. I'm telling you, he's totally into animals and snakes, and he had an emu. You know what emus are?
Of course, they got them in Maine.
Yeah, they're big. They're big fucking birds. They're like 7 feet tall. I have a friend who has 2 emus, and they're they bond like with certain people, but everyone else they hate basically. And they're big. I mean, you got to see. They're like dinosaurs. You got to see the talons on those. You do not want to get messed. Those things can fuck you up.
Like, what would I confuse them for when I saw them in Maine? I thought they were.
They look like ostriches, but they're bigger.
They look like ostrich. Yes, a giant ostrich.
Yeah. So these things are running around. So Larry and so RFK Jr. has one of these things. Someone gave him an egg. Sounds like something that someone would do to me. They gave me an egg, incubated the egg, hatched it. They were super cute. They look like little chicks when they're born, and the thing just kept growing. And the thing loved him. It absolutely loved him. But his wife Cheryl, the thing didn't really like, and she hated this thing. She's like, doesn't want anything to do with all his animals. He's into animals. Well, he's got 100 different animals, dogs and this and that. So the emu would like stand in block the driveway, so she couldn't pull her car out. And it was she's she was on the phone with a producer, talking about a TV project. And the thing was pecking her in the head and chasing her around the backyard. She's like, this is it's insanity. They had to eventually get rid of the thing because the thing was and of course, RFK loves the thing, just like I love all my animals too. So that was pretty funny. So he's a good guy. I really hope he gets into something, even if he doesn't win the presidency. I hope he gets into they give him a cabinet position or something like that. He's the real deal.
Never, ever. That's how politics works, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want little schmoey people who think like them.
Yeah. Shout out to Larry Pollock. I see Amin Alai. I see our friend Ralph Torelli. You know Ralph. Chris used to go into the gym when he worked there.
Yep.
Now, I think this Facebook thing is working. We have a lot of people who don't normally tune into our live show, so that's great. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget, if you guys haven't subscribed to the Facebook page, subscribe, follow us, whatever we got to do over there. So this way, you get all the notifications when we do these things. And once again, tomorrow will be the Rips and Rants show with John Romano and I. Tuesday will be After Hours with the Whack Pack, so you're not going to want to miss all those shows. And then by Friday, when we can upload again to YouTube, I have a backlog of a lot of good shows. We had Iron Rage I did with Lee Priest last week. That'll go up. And we have a couple interviews I did. I did a really good interview, Chris, by the way, with Carmen Tuchnik about DNA and testing your DNA, because I really believe that's going to be the future of how we determine what nutritional supplements we should take, what kind of diets to follow, even what kind of workouts to follow, because you can tell a lot. I sell these DNA tests on my site that Carmen works for this company. And you basically just buy the kit from me, you swab your cheek, you send it in, and then they send you back the results and they go over the results with you. But there's a whole litany of everything from vitamin status, how you metabolize certain vitamins, which ones you don't handle well, lactose, detoxification, hormone panels. I found out, I've told you this, I found out I'm a very high DHT converter, so I convert a lot of testosterone to DHT, genetically speaking. And I obviously have no ability to digest lactose. I found out that I handle caffeine very well, believe it or not. So that's why even when I do use caffeine, because if I'm falling asleep and I got to get through a TV show, it doesn't ever raise my heart rate at all or my blood pressure. And that's because I happen to just have no genetic defects in the way I metabolize caffeine. But I found out that there are certain things that I don't do well. And so the great thing about DNA testing is that it's definitive. It's not like, well, maybe you're allergic or not. It's if you don't metabolize something, you don't like I don't methylate vitamin B12 at all. And if you don't methylate vitamin B12, you can't store it in your liver. And B12 is one of the only water-soluble vitamins that can be stored. And remember, B12 is used, which is known as cyanocobalamin, is used for the production of red blood cells, protein synthesis reactions. So you need it. You need it in your body. It's very hard to absorb B12 orally. So if you don't methylate it, you can't store it. A lot of people become deficient in it. So luckily, our V-mineralized product from Species Nutrition, we put methyl B12 or methylated vitamin B12 in it. But a lot of people don't even know that they should be using methylated vitamin B12 because they don't know that they can't methylate it. But that's a very common defect, by the way, in people. On this little podcast we did, we talked about vitamin E. A lot of people don't take vitamin E, and especially in today's world where a lot of people are dying of clots, and we don't know if the clots are, what they're from, but it could potentially be from the virus. They could potentially be from that other thing, but you definitely want to take your fish oil, like
say the other thing, Dave.
I can say it on Facebook, but I'm not doing it because I'm not even going there. But you should be taking vitamin E, and vitamin E activates a certain. A lot of people have a defect in the vitamin E activation gene, which helps prevent clotting in the body. So if you have a defect in that, you're more likely to clot. So you don't even have to have anything wrong with you. You might just throw clots. Now I have the opposite problem. When I take fish oil vitamin E, I don't clot at all, basically, which is good. I'm not going to die of a clot, but I might bleed to death, during a surgery. So prior to surgeries, I have to stop all the nutritional supplements I take. So these are just things that you would never know about yourself. And in this day and age, with the information that we can have, that we can garnish from DNA testing and the small, very low price, they're very cheap, these tests now compared to what they were. I highly recommend that people test their DNA and find out what they're good at and what they're not good at. And I'm going to test all my children too, because if I can, help steer them in the right direction and give them the right nutritional supplements. Like my son has bad skin, and a lot of times that's due to like gluten intolerances and stuff like that. So I'll find out when I DNA test him if he does have any of that stuff, and if he does, I know how to maneuver around that rather than treat with medications, which is what everyone does, right? go to the doctor, they give you a cream, they give you a pill, they give you this. You can do it using the right vitamins and minerals, or you could avoid foods that cause that, So I wouldn't be shocked if my son is lactose intolerant, because I'm lactose intolerant 100%. So even if he's 50% lactose intolerant, he can be getting bad reactions because of that. And these are things that we can find out now that we never were able to do, Chris, when you and I were kids and young. So
yeah, it sounds like it's frontier.
Yeah, definitely.
Love that.
All right. Well,
right.
I know you got to go creep back. Do you have candles on in your house? How do you even have light in your house?
I'll blow out the candles so the house doesn't burn down, so I don't have a big insurance claim.
So what do you do? Flashlights?
Yeah, flashlights and candles.
Does your iPhone have a flashlight on it, or do you have one of those like iPhone 5s or something like that?
No, I have a BlackBerry, and it has like a little glow to it.
I'm sure your kids probably have iPhones though, so that's
no. My kids have my old BlackBerries. They do.
My son's like, Dad, I want a new iPhone 15. I said, I don't have the 15 yet. It just came out. You're not getting a 15. You don't need it. You don't even need a phone. I said, all he wants to do is play video games on it anyway, and FaceTime his friends. You don't need an iPhone 15 for that.
The whole entire airplane is playing video games.
He's into Minecraft, my son.
Huh?
My son is obsessed with Minecraft.
Minecraft at that age too.
Yeah, they love it. They love it. It's like, and they get on there with their friends. He has the telephone on FaceTime so he can see his friends, and they're talking and strategizing while they're both playing the same Minecraft game online together. It's
how old?
He's 7. It's very stressful though. I'm watching this, screaming at each other and crazy.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna get. Oh, well, he can't play on the weekday. He can only play on the weekend. I'm gonna get the rule. I'm gonna get my son, your son's Minecraft, whatever.
Oh, that would be great if they played together. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Forget about it. They'd be best friends right there.
They would be playing at 4 a.m.
On the weekend, we let him do whatever he wants. He can stay up. He stays up all night.
My son does not know how to order Amazon packages and have.
You better not let my son talk to him. He might be ordering. He might be teaching your son a few tricks of the trade.
I'm going to tell him. Do you remember the guy with the snake? Because he does. I'm going to say his son plays Minecraft. You're going to have to hook up with him.
Our kids all met each other years and years ago when you came up here. When we went out to eat together. But I wanted to mention one more thing. I went bowling today for the first time in a very long time.
Oh, really? I like.
Yeah, my kids were bowling. Logan refuses to take any kind of instruction from me. My daughters love it. I show them throw the ball, and I bowled because I wanted to bowl. I can't just sit and watch people. I like to bowl, even though the kids were all bowling. So I bowled, and I did pretty good. I think I got a 168 on one of my games, which is pretty good considering I don't bowl on a regular basis. So.
They bring the food right over to the bowl. Do they have that there where they bring the food?
Yeah. They ate I can't eat the pizza in the bowling. I sucked it up. I actually had a McDonald's double quarter pounder before we went into the bowling alley. So
really growing.
I think I put 3 pounds of muscle on from eating that double. I'll tell you one thing though. I bowled 2 games. I was dripping sweat. My foot now, of course, is killing me because I don't even know how I did it because, I'm not supposed to be able to walk without the Hoka shoes I wear. And I put the bowling shoes on and I don't know if I just sucked it up. It didn't really bother me until after I bowled for 2 hours. Then I was
the most comfortable shoes you've ever worn.
They are. I was shocked. It's the first pair of shoes that I've worn since I actually had my ankle fusion done that I was able to walk in them. They were fine. I was not having any problems with them. So, and I bowled in them. So I think that might be the trick, the bowling shoes. And, when I go to the bowling alley, Chris, I'll leave you this funny story. I always get brand new bowling shoes. And people always say, how come everyone else gets the ones they've been worn 400 times? Because I wear a size 14 in a bowling shoe. No one wears a 14. No one wears a 14. So when I go into the bowling alley, I get brand new shoes all the time. The only person who wears them is me when I go there. So they have to have them because, just in case someone has a big size or something like that. But no one really wears a 14. So
it's Dave, Bob Lanier, who was in
and Shaq
O'Neal. And I think maybe George Foreman all have size 14.
There you go. There you go. And there was one, when I went to prison, Chris, there was one guy with a size 15, thank God, because because I had a shoe to wear when I got in there, because I had no sneakers, whatsoever, and I didn't have any money, because you can only spend so much money in the commissary every month. And I had to buy tuna packets because that was a priority, It's like, you remember Kai Green when he was first coming up, he had no money.
Yeah.
You would call him like 3 weeks after a show, you couldn't get through to him on the phone. His phone would be turned off. And you'd be like, Kai, why is your phone turned off? I got to buy tilapia. The tilapia is way more important than my phone. He said, or I'm not going to look good at the show. So that's what it was like. But that's it. Yep. Hopefully everything streamed accurately and perfectly on Facebook, and it all worked out well. Thank you guys for joining us and for following us over to our Facebook page. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. For now, we're out of time. As we say every week, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
It sure does, guys. We will see you back again next week. Stay tuned.